Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, Earthlings. I hope you're all having a fabulous time, peeplings, wherever you are. Sorry I've been missing for a couple of days. As you can probably tell from my voice, I've had a cold, or maybe flu, so I've been curled up on the sofa watching TV since Friday with a raging temperature. I don't know how you guys are. I prefer not to take ibuprofen or paracetamol for as long as possible. But when my temperature went above 40 grams, like, oh my God, take an ibuprofen, and I started to get chest pains. So, and then it came back down. But I like to, the old immune system, I like to fight that. So that's where I've been. And I've been watching TV and stuff, and I've been looking up a couple of things. Now, some thoughts today on PR. Firstly, yes, thank you very much, everybody who passed on the message from the Royal Grift, message received and understood. It provoked me to actually go and have a look at Sarah Data's Twitter account, which I don't normally. And I see that on the 30th of January, she said something like, they found out my real identity. And they've been calling where she works, and she said they've been threatening her dog and stuff like that. And then she put a further community post. Firstly, I'd like to say, Sarah Data, anybody else otherwise threatening somebody's dog, I think she's making it up. I don't know anybody from our team that would do such a thing. And secondly, phoning up people's employers as well. She's doled out a lot of shit. Don't get me wrong, I have no sympathy for Sarah Data, but there's ways and there's ways. But I think she's making all that crap up. And it's interesting because the Pagan Trelawney deleted their account, I think in early January, wasn't it? So it does all seem to be falling apart at the seams. And then from what I could see, Sarah hadn't really tweeted anything subsequently. Perhaps she has, maybe I'm not understanding her Twitter thread. But it is interesting, it seemed quite convincing that she feels that her identity is out there. This then led me to a Reddit thread, and isn't Reddit an interesting social media? My goodness, I could spend all day on that, reading. It's like reading a good novel. Whether it's true or not, anything that's on it, I don't know. But what was it they said? Someone on Reddit, and I can't remember where, so I can't put a link, but someone on Reddit said that the Mail on Sunday have been aware of not only the identity of Sarah Data, excuse me, but other prominent sugar accounts for some time. And this all seems to be coming to light because of Dan Wootton. And I'd like to say a good luck message to Dan Wootton. I'm right there with you, mate. Innocent until proven guilty. Totally. You've had a rough ride, and I think what Byline Times did to you was despicable. They shouldn't have done it. And then Lady C had said that Sarah Data had, crowdfunded, raised money, somehow, the 100,000 in order to pay Byline, if I'm getting this right, I don't know if I'm getting this right, to bring Dan Wootton down. Well, none of this comes as a surprise to me, I'm sure you can imagine, and I'm sure it doesn't come as a surprise to any of you either, who've been on this long, long journey to get to the truth. And I've said for quite a while, as things begin to fall apart, the mist will clear, and then a lot of people are going to see it. I also saw on Reddit that a couple of celebrities' names who've been accused of being Sarah Data, I'm not going to repeat their names, and I also see, isn't it right that Dan Wootton, I think, has fired off some legal letters to Carol Vorderman, I think, or he's going to for some tweets, and also Emily Maitlis. I don't know how much truth there is in that, but it does seem that the gloves are off. What I'd like to see is GB News reinstate Dan as soon as possible. And if not, I'd love to see him on something like Piers Morgan as a guest, so he can do whatever he can talk about, because he's obviously in a lot of litigation at the moment, and quite right too. And then the other thing that I was looking at is this Lemonada that Meghan, the podcast thing, she's going to continue with archetypes. Yes, I did see she went to lunch in brown, and then she went to dinner in grey. And I've got to say, ladies and gentlemen, there's no excuse, really, is there? There's no excuse. She's got a lot of money at her disposal, and even if she didn't, I think that the best of us could scrub up and wear something. I mean, you could pop down to Marks and Spencer's. You don't have to spend thousands of pounds on clothes. But the woman just wears monotones: greys, black, white, brown, beige, 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 beige. She just never stops, which makes her comments on her Netflix docuseries all the more cheeky, that she felt she couldn't wear colour when she was in the royal family because she was told to tone it down. Extraordinary outfits, extraordinary sort of poses. I do feel it was staged. I feel that the paps were there to take the picture. Otherwise, how the hell do they know she's going to turn up, excuse me, at some random restaurant to meet some random person? And it's something to do with Oprah Winfrey, isn't it? And not kind of present herself, like get out of the car with some star power. Hello, I'm Meghan Markle, I'm here. And head held high and walk into the restaurant, do her stuff, and then come back out. But she sort of wore this, again, clothes far too big for her, trousers too long, not quite as long as normal, in sort of brown on one occasion, and then in grey on another. Beats me. I think, actually, what I used to like doing when we lived in Brighton was going down the charity shops, and you get some awesome stuff in Hove charity shops, Hove and Brighton, and you can dress to the nines. So I just don't understand it. And they go on about, oh, she's dripping with expensive clothes and jewellery. Maybe she is, but they just don't look expensive to me. Now, the Lemonada, I've had a look at this. It's really new. It seems to me, I haven't listened to any podcasts on it, but I've looked at the type of thing, and they're not the kind of thing that I'd listen to. Fair enough, there's a market out there. I suppose people want to listen to that sort of thing. It's sort of about people of colour, mostly women of colour, who are trying to break into politics or, positions. Excellent, why not? It's a very, very new, I think it's only a couple of years old. It's sort of like a school magazine. So, from a PR point of view, that brings me to my main point. I think Netflix are literally going to announce something like, we are not working with her anymore, and I think William Morris are on the verge of doing the same. So, from a PR point of view, if I'm right, and I could well be wrong, as I often say, don't take my word for anything. I mean, none of this is fact. This is all just my thoughts and opinions. But if you were her PR people and you knew that the axe was going to fall, probably quite publicly, what's the best way to counter that? Well, do some car park pap walks, do some restaurant entry and leaving walks, book some cinema tickets, go to some sports events, that type of thing, and make out that you've got new deals and big up the Lemonada thing, because then when the axe falls and the others have said, we don't want to know, then she and her PR can say, well, it doesn't matter, we're busy working on something else and we're moving on in life. So that's the impression I get, that there's a big hullabaloo over nothing as usual. Critics of mine and ours in our camp, who sort of say, why you're down on Meghan all the time. Well, for example, with royalty tend to be invited to things where the tickets are not necessarily available to the general public. Royalty tend to attend events that are, there's either limited tickets, it's invite only, it's something special, someone of some particular repute is going to be there, and I don't mean the sky god Harry. Whereas what Harry and Meghan PR seem to do is just, let's buy some theatre tickets, let's buy some cinema tickets, let's go to a concert, let's book a restaurant, let's walk in a car park. Well, excuse me, I could do that. There's lots of car parks. In fact, I might do a whole video, and Graham can pat me walking around car parks, and then I might book a restaurant and he can pat me walking in and out of a restaurant. I could go to the cinema in Gibraltar and he could pat me going in and out, he could have it on sports mode with loads of flashes. That's something anybody can do. I could do it in brown, I could do it in grey, I could do it in beige, if you like. It's not really very spectacular, is it? So the Lemonada thing, I mean, I look at it and it's almost like she's getting involved with a school magazine or something, and bless them, good luck to Lemonada. I have a feeling it's probably going to be the crushing blow that they could well do without. But I suppose it gives them exposure and publicity, and people are into that sort of thing. Me personally, if I'm going to listen to a podcast, I like a good old mystery, or, you know, like a play. Something like Rebecca. What's that? What was the lady called who wrote that? Oh, Daphne du Maurier. I love Rebecca. Or years ago, when I used to be a chauffeur, I used to listen to the Archers on the radio, and I know you might laugh, but the Archers are a class act. I don't even know if they're still going these days. That would be my kind of a podcast. Oh, and as a little footnote to the Matthew Hardy story the other day, and I will put a link in the description to this, there were one or two of you who said, oh, victim shaming and that the girls weren't there for self-promotion. Well, if you click the link below, and it's an IBMD or IMBD, you know, one of those, the thing where all actors and stuff, click on that, go all the way down to the bottom, and then it says click to see full article on another thing. Go to that and go all the way to the bottom, and you'll see the advert for one of the victims who says, not in so many words, but you can hire me for weddings and bar mitzvahs, da-da-da-da-da-da, and is a micro-blogging influencer and does blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's kind of incredible. Sort of reminded me of when Michael Jackson died and his father thought that it was a really good idea to promote a new record label at the funeral, you know, so poorest of taste. So I called that one. Like a lot of you have called Meghan Markle. Like Piers Morgan lost his job for not believing her. I found at least two of those people totally unbelievable, and then within 48 hours they've proved me right. So instinct, there's an awful lot to be said for instinct, of which you guys have in abundance. So tell me your thoughts and opinions. Is she like bigging up her pap walks and stuff, her car park walks, because the axe is going to fall? Because I felt it's going to fall for some time. And I think Netflix must feel really rather cross anyway, because they might be thinking, well, where's our content? And now you're working with this company called Lemonada, never heard of in my life. They must be wondering, what the hell have we done to deserve this? I thought we paid you $100 million, Meghan, but apparently we're not good enough. And is that the best that William Morris Endeavour can come up with her, the Lemonada thing? So those are my thoughts and opinions from a PR point of view, and I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions. I'm going back to the sofa to curl up and watch some TV, and hopefully I will be back tomorrow. In the meantime, as always,